Greetings to you on the other side of the screen. I would like to talk on this upload regarding ridiculous numbers and a few basic facts and information that people can't seem to understand. I mean, we get ridiculed daily by people that are not stupid. You know, it doesn't take a scientist or physicist or thermonuclear scientist to understand that the Earth that we live on is certainly not a ball shape or a computer generated image that I can't seem to get enough of showing you how much of an indoctrination that this has become. If you could only open your eyes and see yourself through very simple observations that will show you that the Earth does not spin in any way, shape or form. The numbers that we are given to fathom are incomprehensible, so it forces you to not pay any attention to it. But as an adult, these are the questions, the information that you need to ask. You know, as an adult, a free-thinking adult, the portrayal of what you are waking up and believing is a lie, and it's time you realise that lie. So let's start by talking about the International Space Station, the ISS. Now, this is composed of a fragile solar-panelled spacecraft said to be orbiting Earth at incredible speeds of 17,500 miles an hour in geosynchronous orbit, some 210 miles above Earth in the thermosphere. Now, the thermosphere, guys, is where temperatures are said to reach upward of 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit or 1,300 degrees Celsius. Now, we are sold on believing that solar panels and spacewalks, etc., can occur in such unearthly and inhumane thermal temperatures, much less go outside for a spacewalk or to actually install one of these solar panels or whatnot. Now, it's also worth wondering how the astronauts and spacecraft can avoid hundreds, if not thousands, of bits of space debris and graveyard satellites in similar orbit and travelling at speeds of over 6,000 miles an hour. Now, NASA themselves acknowledge that if an astronaut was hit by even a small paint fleck of a space debris, death would likely be result. Even a hit to the spacecraft window, guys, at 6,000 miles an hour on the space shuttle or space station would also cause instant death to all aboard. And there has been not one, zero, okay, astronaut, the number, zero reports of anyone ever having gotten, even a small nick or hurtling space debris, even after decades of so-called spacewalks and space travel involving hundreds of missions into so-called space. So let's talk about the Hubble telescope for a second and what this piece of machinery is capable of doing. And I really ask you to think about this, because this is rather incredible. Okay? So the Hubble telescope is said to send out radio frequency waves that travel vast distances to record a planet's size, velocity, rotational speed, as well as its makeup of water, gases, and orbital relationship to other stars. So NASA says that they learn all of this data from tiny radio beams shot out into far space. Some of these distances are said to be made up to a quadrillion miles out and back. Quadrillion miles. Okay? So numbers that nobody can relate to. Nobody. The Hubble telescope is credited with finding thousands of exoplanets or Earth-like planets. This is amazing, guys. From a tiny micro radio wave that must think about this, that radio beam, that infrared beam, must travel through space dust, comet trails, time and space warp gravitations, the mass rocks in the asteroid belt, without so much of the slightest deviation or a wave interference to accurately capture and record such precise measurements. And the current physical distance, we're told, of our galaxy's width and breadth measured solely by tiny infrared, microwave and frequency and radio frequency beams is just over 46 billion light years. So according to NASA, if we take their numbers and measure in terms we can be familiar with, we will get a number in the region of 276 000 000 000 000 000 000 000 miles away. That's 21 astronauts at the end. So trust the science, we're told, guys. Yet you can lose a simple radio signal if you travel out of the radio bandwidth by simply driving around. Or the next time you struggle to get a signal, try and put that into comprehension. It's funny, isn't it? Those zeros, those astronauts, it's so incredible for you to try and comprehend that it doesn't even seem real. It doesn't sound real when you say it back to yourself. How many zeros, how many light years away this information is supposed to be traveling from. It's incredible. We can all agree that we've been schooled like fish to believe that we orbit once around the sun every year, only to return to the same nearly exact position for our birthdays. But few, guys, few can even recite even the most basic of the physics alleged to be behind the incredible spin, the rotation, the wobbles, the ecliptic orbits and movements throughout the heavens that the heliocentric theory proposes. Okay? People don't even understand the basic principles of that, but they want you to believe that the heliocentrism has simply made the numbers over time so huge, so enormous, that humans have no relative experience to comprehend what large numbers even mean. Now, NASA seem to be able to make up any number they want, and nobody can question the validity of their outrageous statements of facts. And I would like to point this straight out to you guys, right here, right now, to a free-thinking individual. You can prove yourself, you can debunk that the Earth orbits the sun. You can debunk this yourself simply by your own personal self-observation. Now, at the sun's rising, just do this yourself, guys. The sun's rising. Note the position of the sun on the eastern horizon And over the course of the next few minutes and hours, just watch it as the sun will move across the sky and then set in the east. It's simple. You do not need a fancy telescope or any type of technology to simply see that the sun moves. Thus, you have simply disproved all of the heliocentric theory with one simple observation. Now, another observation you can try is to do at night time and just lie outside, focus on the North Star Polaris, the pole star, and over time you will actually see other stars actually circle around the fixed pole star. Alright? Thereby easily proving once again that we are stationary and unmoving relative to the luminaries above. Try it yourself, guys. Really try it yourself. You can prove the Earth doesn't spin. You can prove you can't get ridiculous quadrillion-mile radio signals away. According to modern astronomy, and unchallenged for over a century, is that the Earth is spinning on its axis over 1,000 miles an hour at the equator. Earth is said to cover some 24,000 miles at our beltline in 24 hours. 24 divided by 24, or 24,000 divided by 24 hours is 1,000 miles an hour. Okay. However, we never feel even a whisper of a wind at such speed and movement. Nobody, guys, out there, and I'm talking to any astrophysicist, they're not going to watch this video, but nobody, guys, can tell you what makes the Earth spin on its axis at such speeds in perfect uniformity and precision that the Earth's spin can be timed down to the nanosecond. Few can even tell you what made the Earth spin in the first place, or why Earth seemed to have settled 93 million miles away from the sun to create the perfect weather for human inhabitation. To journey around the sun each year, we necessarily must be travelling through space over 533 million miles. This means our Earth, while spinning, remember, at 1,000 miles an hour on its axis, must also be moving at over 1,000 miles per second to go around the sun. Now, most of us, guys, really can only physically relate to speeds of 100 miles an hour or so in a car. And I ask that if you was to stick your head out of the car window travelling at that speed, well, you can hardly breathe, can you? Okay? So try and imagine speeds 10 times faster that the Earth is spinning and 100 times faster than the Earth is trucking just to get back to our birthdays each year. Okay? Again, the numbers are beyond what anybody can really relate to. So trust is mandatory, isn't it, in the so-called science community to their magnitudes of speed of the Earth is moving. Now, add to these incredible speeds of the Earth travel of our solar system movement around the Milky Way galaxy, remember, that this would mean that all of our solar system are also hurtling through the space at speeds of over 500,000 miles an hour. Yet, all the stars above, remember the simple tests that we can do through self-observation, the stars will remain fixed no matter how many centuries of travel the solar system is said to move. Now, how can that be? There's only one answer, isn't there? Now let's flip this on its head. All right, basic self-observation. Let's get to the science, our science, not pseudoscience, real science. So, the second law, thermodynamics, we know, known as the law of entropy, along with the principles of resistance and drag, prove the impossibility of Earth being a uniform spinning ball. Over time, the 1,000-mile-an-hour spinning ball Earth would experience significant friction and drag constantly, slowing the Earth's spin. However, only the very slightest change of the speed of the Earth's rotation has ever been recorded over as long as you think that science can measure the Earth's spin. Let's get that back in there. The rotation of the Earth is said to be so uniform we can time its rotation to the nanosecond. So the Earth's rotation is explained as angular momentum, where perfect speeds are kept without slowdown over centuries. So science explains to us that there is no change of the Earth's rotational speed due to there being no friction or drag over millions of years' time. They thusly discount the movement of the oceans, the anthropogenic influences of man and machine, the flowing of the great rivers, and the changes in our atmosphere. Nothing, apparently, affects the spin on the spinning ball, we're told. A quote from Mark Wyatt: "Every experiment ever designed to detect the motion of the Earth has failed to detect the Earth's motion and or distinguish it from relative counter-motion of the universe." Why do we never feel so much of a wisp of such massive motions of the Earth through time and space? When you put these numbers, this information into your head, guys, all I'm trying to do is get you to understand it as a free-thinking individual. You're not a slave. You're not a sheep. Contrary to the information, the upload I put on the last one, I don't mean to offend anybody. I really don't. I just want you to free think yourself. You are an individual of capabilities that you're not aware of. You don't understand the power that you have as an individual, what you can create yourself to get people that you know into, to get them to see. You never feel any of this motion that you're told. And you can watch, again, through self-observation, clouds and butterflies. Watch them move around with not a care in the world. You can watch chimney smoke go straight up in the air, never being affected by any of the Earth's spin. And the reason we're told about this is the one word I don't like to mention much, but it comes up every single time, is the swear word in the community is gravity. And this holds all of us on this spinning ball, including the mighty oceans, which we haven't even discussed or brought up the impossibility of something sticking water to something. It doesn't happen. It can't happen. If you want to understand what water is as an element, look at Bruce Lee and what he talks about water. And I did this on a previous upload, and as a subscriber to the channel, you will know. But let's get back to the real scientific proof that people want to claim to, that really has no validity, guys. The indoctrination of a heliocentric story, all right, let's put this into perspective now, was actually interrupted at the turn of the 20th century when experiments such as the Michelson-Morley done in 1887 that proved 100% conclusively the existence of ether, thus proving the Earth was still unstationary. So to save the heliocentric theory from being totally discredited by the experiments performed by these incredible gentlemen, Michelson, Morley, Gale, Sagnac, Cantor and others, establishment masterminds helped Albert Einstein create his special theory of relativity. Now, Mr. Einstein simply created a fifth element of nature called time, so that the heliocentric theory hoax could continue. Alright? He successfully banished the absolute ether, firmament, okay, from scientific study in science and school learning. He replaced the ether with a form of relativism to time, which allowed for heliocentrism and geocentrism to hold equal merit. Forget he was telling us that time is a man-made construct, not an element of nature. If there is no universal etheric medium where all things exist, then philosophically, one can postulate complete relativism about the movement of two objects such as the Earth and Sun. Nowadays, just like the theory of heliocentrism, Einstein's theory of relativity is accepted worldwide as gospel truth, though Einstein himself admitted geocentrism is equally justifiable, thus proving again through research and history that you, through self-observation, can prove without a shadow of a rainbow doubt that the Earth does not move, it does not spin, it's stationary, it's motionless, it's flat. Hit the subscribe if you're new to the channel. I want to try and gain a massive community because I want to try and get this information out. I don't want to make any money. I don't want to make anything that's commercial. The point here is truth and information. They talk about monetization on the YouTube channel or whatever it talks about. I don't even understand half of that information because it's not about that. You know, they try and get you to do this so it discredits you from straight away. It's not what my intention is. I just want to talk the truth, talk about science, talk about the flat earth, and when people would like to come onto the channel and comment and challenge me on the information that I research on, well, I suggest you spend as much time researching as I do. You know, you have to understand from a serious scientific point of view. I'm not a scientist, guys. You know, I'm just a normal guy that is researching into the flat earth science. Yes, I've invested a few quid now in a new microphone for, you know, the comments that people have suggested, and a lot of books on the subject. And, you know, as I said, I work, so, you know, I do just want to spread as much of the flat earth truth as I can. And I will also mention through other people that are trying to, other real major flat earthers, you know, with the major YouTube channels with over 100,000 subscribers and things like this. You know, when you think about this, you know, they make money off the back of it. And I've never understood why you would want to make money off other people by telling the truth. Alright, people go to clairvoyance and go to people that tell them the future but charge you for it. And why would somebody want to charge the person for information that is free? So I hope this concludes the fact that I just want to talk about the flat earth truth and not this globe worshipping indoctrination that is captured 99% of the population. If I only got 1% of the population to listen, then the rest of the information would spread. I wish you happiness, luck, and if you love somebody, show them. A very good saying comes from happiness doesn't come from getting something that you want, guys. Happiness comes from recognizing something that you have. You have a great day, and I'll see you on the next upload.